All right, welcome everyone. Um, Thank you for giving of your time tonight so that we're all set, ready for both TOC and All-Stars, which is just right around the corner. And I am District 44 Umpire-in-Chief Mark Teagle, and I'm going to be talking about the postseason rules, and then we're going to turn it over to District 44 Information Officer Kevin Kelly, who will be talking about tournament procedures and the tournament manual and all the stuff that tournament directors, but everyone needs to know about those things. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for you have presentation and try to keep an eye on all of that. I am going to ask Sean O'Connor to be my co-host so that he can also admit people into the room if I miss people as they're coming in.
You got it.
All right. And here's the first part of our presentation. So welcome tonight. We're going to be talking about the differences between regular season and postseason from an umpire's perspective initially, so that you can understand what's going on. This is especially aimed at those umpires in the room, local league umpires and our district umpires who are going to be officiating our games as we go through both the TOC and the All-Stars. And that didn't advance my slide. Continue to share. Come on. Okay. Oh, I know what happened. Go back to play from the beginning. Okay, we're going to see my presentation winding back. All right, here we go. So points of emphasis for umpires during the postseason. Our local leagues are responsible for providing umpires according to the brackets that are posted on the District 44 website, cad44.org, on the tournament page, all the brackets, all of the pool play information. Every game has a bracketed umpire assignment. If it says D44, then our the umpires will be provided by District 44. And Sean, if you could let those folks in that are in the waiting room. You see how to do that under participants. There we go. All right. So for umpires, we want you to meet your crew at least 30 minutes before game time. And you have a pregame thing that you do. You want to talk about positioning, talk about responsibilities, especially if you haven't worked together, but even if you have. You also want to give the announcer the umpire names and the positions they will have on the field and secure a supply of game balls. The umpires are to be on the field for the introductions, and they should be lined up behind home plate, ready to step up. Then once the introductions are finished, you're going to conduct a plate meeting. The plate umpire will cover the following topics: lineups, equipment, ground rules, sportsmanship. When the game is over, umpires should promptly leave the field and then go together to where you changed, probably to your cars, do a post-game conference so that you can talk about any situations, any questions that anyone had, anything that needs to be handled with the crew. There are some significant updates for 2026 in terms of the rules. Up until this year, pine tar was illegal in Little League games on helmets, on bats. Now pine tar is permitted on the handle of a bat. It should not be excessive, but we're not going to worry about pine tar on bats. You can use a thumb protector, but not anything that is attached to the bat. So choke knobs, other kinds of things like that. Little League has also relaxed the rules about sleeves worn by the pitcher. Pitcher can wear a sleeve on either arm, but it needs to be a solid color, not white or gray. So if you have something that is camouflage or bright colors or gray or white, it is not allowed. But a solid color sleeve can be worn by the pitcher. There's also an allowance for a play calling band on the non-pitching hands. So if you have one of those coded things that you call out numbers for pitches and things like that, that is allowed to be worn by the pitcher. Some of our leagues will be using double first base. So there are rules for that. Essentially on a play on the infield, the orange or non-white colored part of the base, which is entirely in foul territory, is for the runner. The white base is for the fielder. If the play is not being made on them, they can use either base to round that base, but when they come back, they have to come back to the white base. On a drop third strike, the runner and the fielder can use either side of the base. So just to be aware of that, not every league has it, but if you are playing a game on a field that does have it, it's going to be used, and the special rules that are in the rule book will be enforced. So for TOCs, some highlights for us. We run this tournament by regular season rules, but only the strict rules that are in the Little League book, which means no local rules. For instance, if your league has a local rule against slash bunting, like turning to bunt and then pulling the bat back and swinging away, that is allowed by the Little League rules. There is not a rule against it, and so your local rule will not be in effect. We use continuous batting order for majors, intermediate, and junior, even though there is a league option for bat 9 for regular season, but we are going to use continuous batting order for everyone except for seniors. And seniors is strictly
dark blue, light blue, just wear something blue.
All right. Please mute if you can. Thank you. The balls that are being used on the field, RS balls are okay. It says RS for regular season, or you can use RST balls. The teams coming to the field provide those balls, make sure they are given to the tournament director, who can then pass them on to the plate umpire. For minors during TOC, we continue to have the 5-run rule in place until the 6th inning. We're not going to have a declaration of last inning except for the last inning. That is in there. Stephen Bowles, if you could mute, please.
I'm trying. It'll hit it.
Thank you.
My bad.
So I don't want you guys watching.
Thank you. If there is a protest during a TOC game, this tournament is completely run by District 44. So we stop the game. We have the tournament director place a phone call to the district administrator, Sean O'Connor, and Sean O'Connor will make a ruling. And the game does not continue until the protest is resolved. This is different than regular season games where you would note the protest and play on and resolve the protest later. So Sean will listen to both sides of that. He will consult with other people on the district board if necessary, but he will make a ruling. His word is final. There is no kind of going up the ladder during TOCs, his word is final. Now, when we get to the tournament, and by tournament, we mean all-stars, there is a tournament rules section in the rule book, and those rules supersede the rest of the rule book if they do. If it's not specifically addressed by the tournament rules section, then the regular season rule is in effect. Like, you can still have 3 strikes to have a strikeout. There are 3 outs in each half inning. Those are not changed for the tournament. But a lot of other things are, and it's good to be aware of them. For all-star games, for the tournament, RST baseballs are required. And we'll ask our umpires to check to make sure that the balls they are given are RST balls. The rule that requires the batter to keep one foot in the batter's box will be enforced starting with our final 4. So we will be telling players to keep 1 foot in the box during pool play, but starting in final 4, we're going to start enforcing that. So if the batter doesn't remember to keep a foot in the box, they'll be warned the first time, and then a strike will be called on them on the next offense. The reason for this is to prepare these teams for section play, where these rules will be enforced from the get-go. So you need to be ready for that. We don't want you to be surprised, but we're also aware that that's not enforced widely in the regular season. So we're giving you a chance to adjust to that. But just know, when we get to the final 4, the top 4 teams at 8 to 10s, at 9 to 11s, and 10 to 12s, that's when it will start to be enforced. And then the same is true at intermediate, at juniors and seniors. When we have 4 teams left, that's when we will start enforcing that. Now, in regular season, uncaught third strike is not enforced at minors, but it is at majors. Where that gets that division happens is 8 to 10s do not have an uncaught third strike rule, but starting with the 11s and the 12s on up, we do have the uncaught third strike rule. So be aware of that. Things like infield fly enforced at every level. We do have, with games that are being played with continuous batting order, the option of a courtesy runner, and that is for the pitcher and or catcher of record with 2 outs. We have the player that made the last out run for the pitcher and or catcher. You can run for both of them. But if the person who made the last out is in fact the pitcher or the catcher, that is the one that you can use as a courtesy runner. So for instance, if you want to run for your pitcher, but it's your catcher who made your last out, you may not want to do that because you're putting your catcher on base instead of your pitcher. But you need to just be aware of that. All right, continuing on. Managers and coaches are not allowed to warm up a pitcher at home plate or the bullpen or elsewhere at any time. Once you're at the game site, players can only warm up players. This is different than regular season. So during TOC, coach warming up the pitcher, okay, welcomed, in fact, to help speed up the game. But when we get to the tournament, that is no longer allowed. Umpires used to inspect equipment at the beginning of the game. That no longer happens. It is still the responsibility of the manager to make sure that all your equipment is legal and meets Little League requirements, and you will be held responsible if a player comes to the batter's box with an illegal bat, for instance. Now, if you have an unsafe bat, one that has maybe a crack in it that's discovered, that's different than an illegal bat, one that doesn't have USA Baseball or at the upper divisions, BB Core on it. So, but just know, managers, make sure that their equipment is ready to go and meets requirements. For the pitching rules, the days of rest, they are essentially the same as regular season. It's incumbent upon everyone, tournament directors, the people in the press box, scorekeepers, to make sure that we don't have ineligible pitchers that are being used. If that happens, it can result in the suspension of the manager, but that is all going to be reported to San Bernardino, and they are going to rule what we need to do. So at this point, you don't have to, as a tournament director, make a lot of decisions, but if something like that is brought to your attention, you are empowered. In fact, you are required to make a phone call to San Bernardino to ask them what to do in that case. That being said, the only people who can declare a forfeit of a tournament game are Williamsport. That's international headquarters where the Little League World Series is happening, that they have people 24/7 who are on the phone. We don't have that phone number. We reach Williamsport by calling San Bernardino and having San Bernardino contact Williamsport. Big point of emphasis, only players, one manager, and two coaches can be on the field or the dugout area. That includes pregame. So if your team has 17 coaches, guess how many you can have on the field? One manager, two coaches, period. Sean O'Connor, would you like to say something?
Yeah, my apologies, Mark. If you can go back one slide, I think it's a very important call out. When we get to All-Stars, so I think everyone should know this, but TOCs is basically an extension to the regular season, as Mark said. So all those rules apply. Once we get into All-Stars, each president will be provided the phone number for the escalation line down to Williamsport or down to Western Region, which is an extension of Williamsport. If there's any questions, protests, anything like that, that's very important to call out. The presidents will have that contact information. It should be in the binder for a tournament director. Sorry, just want to reinforce that point because there is a difference, right, between TOCs and All-Stars. Thanks, Mark.
All right. Thanks, Sean. Sean just doesn't want to get a bunch of phone calls during All-Stars. He only wants to get them during TOC. All right. There is to be no fraternization with fans. That means we shouldn't have extra coaches, parents going in and out of the dugout. The players, unless they need to go to the bathroom, need to stay in the dugout. We're not wanting to look up and see half of the team in line at the snack shack in the middle of the game. They are there to be playing the game. All right. If there is a need to talk to the umpires, that should be the manager. Coaches aren't empowered to talk to the umpires. You can call time, have the manager go address the umpire that made the call. If they want to make a protest, they can. But very important. I see regular season a lot of laxity around number of coaches, and our umpires are empowered to say, hey, this is the limit, and if you haven't coached up your players to have them ready for this game, having 7 coaches in the dugout isn't going to help that. This is a game. It's about the players. It's not about the coaches. Okay. In tournament play, there is a difference in mandatory play. Offense, because of the continuous batting order, everyone needs to bat in his or her respective spot in the order, period. Defense, players can be re-entered defensively in the game at any time, though there's no minimum defensive play requirement. That's different than regular season. Regular season and TOC, there is a 6 outs on defense requirement. That is not in place in All-Stars. Much easier for everyone to track. If everyone bats, they have met mandatory play. That being said, managers, we encourage you to play all your players. This is their chance to play, to be out on the field, to make that important play on defense. So, but just in terms of tracking, they found that so many of the protests and things that were happening were about mandatory play. They simplified it, and that has helped to streamline the game. We still have the 15-run mercy rule and the 10-run mercy rule. There is no 8-run mercy rule in the tournament. If we have a tie game in a 6-inning game, we start the 7th inning with the person who made the last out starting as a runner at second base. So that used to be delayed until the 8th inning. Now we start, as soon as we have extra innings, we start with that extra runner. This is what Sean was talking about protests. So if you have a protest about a playing rule, you need to lodge that protest before the next pitch or play. Excuse me. A phone call must be made to the protest line if there is a protest, and that is in San Bernardino. Make sure that your tournament director has that number. Make sure they have access to a telephone. And then San Bernardino can turn around and escalate to Williamsport, but most of the time they will give you an answer right away. I've had the privilege of sitting next to the Western Region Director while she was on protest calls, and she knows what she's doing. She will give you a ruling, or she will turn around and say, hey, I'm going to call you back. I need to check with someone, and then come back with the answer. The game does not continue until you've gotten an answer. If you don't like what Western Region says, that you can escalate, ask to be escalated up to Williamsport. And Williamsport, their answer is absolutely final. So make sure that that phone call gets made and that protest is resolved, because we don't have extra days to come back and replay games. We need to get through this tournament because we have a lot of games to get through between now and when people go on to sections. So some words about safety. It's been a long season, so make sure that your first aid kit is fully stocked, that everything is in good condition. Check your field to make sure there aren't any hazards, holes that have developed, muddy spots, and have somebody who is going to be doing the pitch count. Some of our fields have it on the scoreboard, but you should have an official pitch counter. The manager of each team is responsible for your player's pitch count. If you think the pitch counter is wrong, you can call that to their attention and it can be resolved, looking at the scorebooks from both teams and having the umpire be the final decision maker on what should be the pitch count. Make sure you have first aid kit, access to ice. AEDs are important, especially as some of us umpires get a little bit older. So make sure that all of that safety stuff is important. Also, as you know, grandmas and grandpas are watching these great games. Just be aware of all the situations. There's a lot happening. Fans can be getting a little unruly. Be aware of that as tournament director. We're not asking our umpires to deal with anything outside the playing field. They will handle things on the field, but tournament directors, board members can handle stuff in the stands, make sure that fans are being good examples. Also be aware of the Little League concussion protocols and the state of California concussion protocols. I say this to umpires because you have a role. If you feel a player is been adversely affected, if you think they need to be pulled from the game, umpires, you have the authority to say this player needs to be excused from the game and they need to have medical attention. So that's an important thing for you to do. It just adds a layer of protection for people. And then kind of rounding up my part of the presentation, remember that Little League is a leadership program. Yes, we play baseball, but we are fostering leadership development in these young men and women. Sportsmanship and a positive culture are vital. We need people to be good role models, and that's way more important than winning. And what you do, especially during the tournament, is going to stay with these kids forever. They're going to remember these games. They're going to replay them in their heads. And the way that the adults behaved on the field is going to have an impact and leave an impression on all these people. Our umpires commit to giving their best game. And for one team at every level, their season will continue on to sections, divisions, and then majors and above. They can go on to the region and even the World Series. So I hope that I've covered a lot of the rules. We're going to turn it over to Kevin. I think there's stuff in the chat that I have not been able to monitor, but I'm going to turn it over to Kevin Kelly. I'll stop my sharing.
All right, here we go. All right, so roster sizes for the international tournament. When you get there, roster size is 12 to 14, 16 maximum for senior division. Again, these are just kind of, these are all stated in the international tournament section of the rule book. As Mark already covered, we use continuous batting order except for seniors. And if you're going to have, for any reason, rosters of less than 12 players in the international tournament, that is only permitted with the DA's approval. That doesn't mean that if, you know, 2 kids get sick off the roster and you've only got 10 for the game, that's okay. So just, you know, note there on the roster size.
Kevin, point on this one.
Yep.
So I had a couple of presidents reach out to me. I know in the past, Little League International Western Region wanted us to kind of manage this at a district level for All-Stars, and it was inconsistent in terms of the process. So it is strongly recommended, as Kevin mentioned, to have a roster size maxed out 12, obviously for everything except for juniors and seniors. Sorry, 16 maximum for seniors, 14 for juniors, 12 for everything else. But if you show up with less than 12 players, you're obviously going to get some questions from the other team and maybe from the umpires, but there is no requirement to send a note or anything else to District 44, or conversely, it's the same thing in any other district that you play in All-Stars, meaning in sections. So when you show up with your team and just ensure that you're able to talk through it. But your roster size is the most important thing. Sorry.
Yep, no, thanks for the clarification. Okay, next slide. All right, so we are again have the Farm or Future Stars tournament. There is a separate session for that on Thursday night, so I'm not going to go into details here. If you are going to be either managing or coaching or a volunteer coordinator for those leagues that are hosting one of the pool play sessions on the first weekend, Saturday or Sunday of the first weekend, or one of the seeded brackets that don't go off the dates here. Remember, this is last year's. Then absolutely make sure you're at the Thursday meeting this week. Next slide. All right, so TOCs, again, this is a district-run tournament, typically recognizing each individual league's regular season champion. It is single elimination. Actually, again, the note here about juniors, that's incorrect. For the, again, this is last year's. So all levels, we have a separate TOC for that is a single elimination bracket. Always do a coin flip to determine who bats first or last. Many of the games will be played on the home field of one of the participating teams. That does not mean that they automatically get to bat last. Always do the coin flip. As Mark mentioned, regular season, no local rules, continuous batting order except for seniors. No pooling of players from other teams. So if a team knows or thinks that they'll be unable to field the 9 players, then that team during TOCs must follow the regular season replacement to pick up a player following the regulation 3D. So you can't just take players from other teams in the same division, even if you were doing pool play during the regular season within your own leagues. Next slide.
By the way, Kevin, that's all spelled out in the Little League rule book. We had to invoke that the year 2023 TOC championship game. So make sure that everyone is aware of the rules per the rule book that are on this call participating in TOCs. Sorry, Kevin.
Just note too that that involves a board approval. So just again, carefully read the rules.
Okay, next slide.
You just cover this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, on to All-Stars. As Mark mentioned, whole separate section in the tournament rulebook. Again, there is very little time for reschedules. If the team is unable to field 9 players, the tournament director must call Western Region, who will determine if a game is to be forfeit or not. All of the pitcher and player eligibility is enforced by the affidavit, which is in the binder that you will carry with you to every single game. We will, again this year, utilize pool play for the 10s, 12s, and 11s. There is a separate section in the Little League rulebook that talks about pool play. During pool play, we will have true home and away games. So there was no coin flip during the pool play. The home team is the home team and will bat last. Leagues should have, on your fields, you should have designated home and visitor dugouts. Hopefully they are labeled as such. If they are not adequately labeled, make sure as a tournament director that you direct the players to the appropriate dugout before those games. When we do get to the Final Fours, that is when we will revert to the coin flip for home and away and choice of dugout. All leagues are during the pool play. Their leagues are providing umpires to neighboring leagues. So, of course, all umpires are by definition neutral, but here we go the extra step and have umpires from different leagues. All of the presidents have already been notified of where they are sending their umpires, so there shouldn't be any questions or issues with that. Top 2 teams coming out of each pool go to the Final Four double elimination bracket. Next slide. All right, for tournament directors, before each game, I would recommend you start an hour and a half before, at least, before the scheduled game time. If you don't already have permanent tarps over dugouts, make sure those get set up to provide both shade as well as privacy to discourage fans or parents from interfering with the dugout. Get everything swept out, set up, if you don't have a designated score booth, set up a separate designated table and chairs, provide shade for the volunteers. Ideally, staff 3 individuals, a scorer, an announcer, and a pitch counter. Push comes to shove, you can probably get away with 2. Somebody's going to have to do double duty there, but 3 makes it a lot easier. All leagues should have a public address system for the games or announcements. If you're going to have music for pregame or during between innings, should have that all set up. Cue up the national anthem as part of the pregame announcements. Always fly proudly the American flag. Make sure you have a copy of your league safety plan handy. May have been stuck into an equipment shed at the start of the season and you may have forgotten about it. Make sure you have that handy. As a courtesy, we ask leagues to provide water coolers for both dugouts. And then, of course, that's all that's different from regular season. Of course, you still have your regular field prep, watering, dragging, lining, and setting out the bases, etc.
Kevin,
A lot more preparation goes into tournament games here. Yes, Sean.
Kevin, quick point here. I guess we can do this interactively. For those that are on chat, can you see what's missing from this bullet point? I'll give you a hint, specific to music. All right, nobody's typing.
There is no walk-up music.
We are specifically stating, let's see, do we have a winner? Yep. Daniel Mosetti. Right. No walk-up music, and here's why. In most cases, you're hosting a neutral site game. Yes, your home team may be playing in that game, but as myself and Mr. Mark Teagle talked about earlier tonight, we're all part of the same group. We're Little League volunteers, and we're trying to provide a great experience for all players and all families. And the walk-up music, while very cool when hosting a game as the home team, we want to make sure that it's a welcoming environment. So if anybody has any issues as a home team with playing walk-up music, you can email myself or District44 at info.ca.org and we'll send emails. But no walk-up music is what we're saying.
Right, and that to be clear, that includes not only the official announcer's booth, but it includes somebody with a boombox in the stands. You're not playing music for the kids as they walk up. The host field may have important announcements that have to be made, and it needs to be able to be heard by everybody. And we don't want to favor one side or another, so we're just going to err on the side of no walk-up music.
That's a great call out, Joe. We are not travel baseball. We are Little League International. And again, if any leagues want to get the best announcer of all time, ask Kevin Kelly to come announce a game for you. He'll show you exactly how it's done. Play some great music in between innings, make the announcements. Let's make it a Little League experience for all parties. Thanks, Kevin.
All right. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Joe. All right, for the announcements, So ideally, if you can, find a non-participating youth player to lead everyone in the Little League Pledge. If you can't find one, then of course the announcer can do it as well. 30 minutes before the assigned game time, when the visitors get to take their infield, they have the field for 10 minutes and it's turned over to the home team. So announcers should be making these announcements, getting the game, the pregame stuff going. 10 minutes before the scheduled game time, all the players and coaches should be in their dugout, and that's when you'll start your pregame announcements and player introductions. For consistency, instruct the teams when their name's called to proceed to the mound for a handshake, and if you're going to be exchanging pins, for the pin exchange as well. As tournament director, you should be getting all of the information from the managers ahead of time in terms of what the lineups, finding out if they are going to be exchanging pins or not. Managers, remind your kids how to properly shake hands when you walk up there. If you have a pin, have the pin in your left hand, shake with the right hand, and then exchange the pins. Have the players, after their handshake, fan out towards first and third base. Introduce the players, alternating one from each team. Introduce the coaches, managers, and the umpires. There is a script. If you haven't already seen it, there's a well-written script covering all of this. That script is available on the tournament resources page of the District 44 website. You play the national anthem, lead the Little League Pledge, and then ask the managers to meet the umpires at home plate for the manager meeting. Next slide. During the game, tournament director or the tournament director's designated announcer will announce each batter as they approach the batter's box. Announcers should announce whoever walks up, even if that is not the player who the lineup says should be walking up. It is not the announcer's job to call out if someone is batting out of order. The announcer's job is to simply announce who is at the plate. If there are pitching changes or catcher changes, announcers should be announcing that as well. When pitchers leave, give their final pitch count. Between each half inning, an announcer should announce the score, the pitch count for the pitcher who's who just finished that half inning. There are some fill-in announcements, things like thanking the umpires who are volunteering their time. If there's any other league-specific announcements, good time to do that between innings, and if possible, if convenient, playing music between innings can help add to the ambiance.
Or announce World Cup scores, right, Kevin?
Or, yes, World Cup scores will be announced at any game that I'm announcing. All right. During the game, the tournament director, assuming that the tournament director has someone else doing the announcing, what should the tournament director be doing during the game? Tournament director should be controlling the crowds, making sure that that fans are not coming onto the field, not encroaching onto the field of play. Keep your umpires well hydrated. Assist the scorekeeper and the announcer as needed, keeping track of pitches thrown, visits to the mound, anything like that. If you don't have 3 people in the booth, you may be pressed into service helping them out. Also, as you're watching the game, start working on your game summary. If you are using Game Changer, or somebody on the field is running Game Changer and you plan to utilize Game Changer for the game summaries, that's fine. I personally find, though, that Game Changer can be as good as it is at the factual matters. It doesn't do justice to things like momentum swings in the game, right? How one key play can turn, one key defensive play can, spark then the offense in the next half inning, et cetera. So paying attention to the game and paying attention to things like that can help you enhance that game summary.
I love
slide.
Kevin Kelly is giving creative writing tips on this call to people too. Like if you pay attention to the Game Changer kind of misses that. One quick story, and then we'll advance slides here. Mark Teagle backed me up. 2023 Moreland Little League's Major Field District 30 umpire. Very, very hot day in West San Jose that day. I believe Kona Ice was on site. Long story short, we kept offering water and ice to the District 39 home plate umpire. He had to actually bow out at the bottom of the 6th inning. We had Jim Malaris step in, who was calling the next game. So keeping your umpires hydrated is very, very important. Mark Teagle?
That is correct, sir. Although it was at Campbell, it was a sectional game.
Campbell, thank you. Sorry. Next slide.
All right. After the game, tournament director announcement. Announce the final score. If you have a good idea to have a bracket, so you can show and announce where the teams are playing next. If it was an elimination game, ask the crowd to give a hand to the exiting team. If it's a championship game, leave the scoreboard on, showing the final score. Teams like to go out and have the picture taken in front of the final score. Remind fans to stick around for the medal ceremony and banner presentations, and then also MC the medal ceremony. So District 44 representative will be there to hand out the medals. You will reintroduce first the runner-up team, all the players and coaches by name, so they can get their medals handed out. They will then step off to the side as you then introduce the winning team's players and coaches. And then for All-Stars, announce the location and dates of the Section 5 tournament that they'll be moving on to play in. And again, there are announcer script forms available on the D44 website. After the game, you should, as a tournament director, report the score as soon as possible, preferably via text, or you can email it if you, for some reason, are not able to text. In the message, please include the date, the division, both teams, and the final score. So don't just say Los Altos beat Westside, because there could be two different Los Altos teams playing two different Westside teams in the same day at the same time. So I don't want to get a bunch of random information. Please provide the detailed information there. Review and sign the official scorebook. Update and sign the pitching records. There's examples on the next page. Return those affidavits or binders, pitching eligibility forms to the managers. Take a picture in case they lose it. So take a picture of it before you return it. If there were any ejections, umpires will probably be contacting Mark as well, but the tournament director should be reporting any ejections and include those in your game recap. Write up the game recap, and then you can email those to me. They can be done later. You don't have to do them from the field. If you want to take the scorebook home, spend some time, do your best work to convey the emotion of the game. get those sent to me later, it's fine. But the score is the most important thing to text to me as soon as possible. In fact, if you can do that right after the last out and before you do anything else, have that queued up and ready to go, and send it before you get distracted with all this other stuff.
Hey, and just to Kevin's point, fun fact for all the tournament directors and league officials on the call, Kevin posts that on our District 44 website. Link is in the chat. So if you want to wake up the next morning and show your player something cool where his name is mentioned, like yeah. And then for anybody else that wants to share that on any of the social media platforms, it's a very cool experience for all involved.
Also say that, the timely reporting of scores, as someone who's managed all-star games before, it's a courtesy to your other managers for them to be able to know the results of the game at another field, that might impact their decisions on pitching and things like that. And so I think that we should all sort of do our due diligence to report the scores as soon as we can.
Great call out.
All right. Tournament director, field duties, all the regular cleanup stuff, putting away your bases, water coolers, flags, cones, PA system, etc. Do all the regular fields, preparation, raking out home plate, pitching mound, water, take care of the field, right? There's going to be a lot of games being played in a short amount of time. So take care of those fields and get them, make sure they're ready for the next day. Pitching logs. So this is an example of the pitch count data sheet that we have on the website for and recommend that you use for TOCs. There's some good stuff here and there's some not so good stuff in this example, right? Please make sure that you're filling out the forms clearly and legibly. Don't leave things blank. When you're recording league age, that is the league age, that is not the division of play. So the frowny face there on the first two lines, someone had put in the division of 11U or 10U. That doesn't tell me anything of whether that player was 11 or 10 or 9 years old. So make sure you're putting the actual player ages. If you don't know, ask the manager. Record all the pitches thrown using the separate threshold reached column to distinguish if the threshold was reached while completing a batter. If you do make a mistake, strike through the entire line and rewrite everything on a new line. We don't want to be, we don't want there to be any confusion later on of, somebody going back and like fudging a number somewhere. If you're going to sign it, please sign it with a name that is legible, not just a squiggly mark. If there's ever any questions, we want to know who to go back to.
And going back to a question that was posed in chat, I mean, if you're looking for a pitching log, it's pretty much the same thing, right? So, this documentation is available on littleleagueinternational.org. It's available on District 44's website. Most of the tournament director pamphlets or the pages that you print out, which is what I used to do back in the day. This has all of this, and you can print off multiple copies. So,
yep. All right. Game recap. This is an example. I'm not going to bore you with it, but I will tell you, this was an amazing write-up that was done for a team that my son was playing in. This write-up was sent off to, it was shared with the Sunnyvale Sun newspaper and appeared in print, a week or two after. And my son, to this day, he's graduating from college in 2 weeks, and yet he still has hanging in his room that newspaper clipping from this game. I cannot stress enough how impactful Little League can be when it is done well. So all of us who are participating, putting in the hours, volunteering, have roles to play to help shape these young kids' lives and set them on a path to success. So it touched my heart to get this write-up done by Jeff Fang from Moreland back in 2016. I use it as an example, for that reason. So next slide.
Amen.
All right, managers and coaches, your responsibilities pre-game. Get to the field for the coin flip at least an hour before game time. Follow the tournament director directions regarding safety rules, where you can and cannot do your warm-ups. If they do or do not allow you to do whiffles, go to your designated areas to do that. Make sure you deliver your affidavit binders for All-Stars or your pitching eligibility forms for TOCs to the tournament director. Deliver the balls, 2 balls, plus if you think you've got some home run hitters on your team and you want to be able to give out a home run ball or save the home run ball for someone on your team who's going to hit that, bring extra balls. If you do not bring extra balls, the umpire will probably not let you keep the home run ball because we need to have those for the game. If you do have pins, make sure the tournament director knows about that. If only one of the 2 teams has the pins, you will not do a pin exchange, but just if you would like to still share if the one team that has the pins would still like to share them, just give that bag of pins either to the other manager or to the tournament director for them to hand out to those players separately. Provide your tournament director or announcer with clearly written lineups. Help with any necessary pronunciation. Please write clearly and legibly. If you're using a multi-carbon form, press hard so that everything is legible on all of the multiple copies. As of 2025, you as the manager are responsible for your team's equipment. If you've got players who play travel ball as well, if they've got non-Little League approved equipment, have them leave that at home. Don't run the risk of getting that brought into the dugout and get used during a Little League game. And again, teach the players how to shake hands with the right hand, holding the pin in the left hand. During the game, your responsibility as a manager or coach, in addition to managing and coaching your team, you are representing your league. Your participation, whether it's for TOCs or All-Stars, is a reflection of your league. So show that respect, represent yourself and your league in the best possible way. Post-game, usually handshake, high five, fist bump at home plate, salute your fans, thank them, patronize the snack shack, right? You're playing on usually a neutral site. All the volunteers provided by that league, they use that league, that host league uses snack shack revenue to help offset costs. Please do not bring outside team snacks. Patronize that snack shack. Many of the leagues will have, ticket systems making it easier for players to get those snacks at the snack shack after the game. So find out ahead of time what those procedures are.
Hey,
Do not leave the field without your signed affidavit or pitching eligibility form, right? And review it for accuracy before leaving. I did have a situation 2 years ago, I think it was, where the tournament director made an honest mistake filling out the eligibility form. And unfortunately, they were held to that, right? They go to their next game thinking that they've got an eligible pitcher, but the tournament director had made a mistake and marked them as not being eligible for the next game. So check that for accuracy before you leave. And again, if there's any corrections to be made, tournament director will scratch that out and write a new line.
Yeah, that's a big one, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that your managers are with the tournament directors and make sure all the data and inputs are correct. Just real quick, Mark Teagle, not to put you on the spot, but the fourth bullet point down for TOCs, it's a great call out, right? RSTs, obviously, for the league presidents and leagues, you got to have those for all stars. But Mark, RS okay for TOCs only, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Great call out.
All right, managers for all stars, right? You will have your affidavit binder that is prepared by your league president, signed off by the district administrator, and you will be carrying that, the manager will be carrying that to all the games, giving it to the tournament director at the start of the game, collecting it after the end of the game. This contains all of your proof of birth documents, official waiver forms, proof of residency documents, the player verification forms, the separate pitching eligibility log. This is different than the example we showed before for TOCs. This is part of your part of the official, documentation in the binder. If there is an approval from District 44 for roster size less than 12, that will be carried with you as part of that binder. Your Diamond Leader certification forms and medical release forms, although not technically required, they are highly recommended to carry with you just in case you don't want to have any issues holding up a player getting medical care if God forbid something happens during the game. Next slide. All right, tools and resources. So littleleague.org/tournament resources website has lots of information there. Familiarize yourself with it. The D44 website on the tournament resources page also has all of this information, tournament manual, this presentation, actually the updated version of this will be there. There's also a quick reference guide, a shorter version of this that you can easily print out and keep in your scorebook, or excuse me, your score booth for any of the games you're hosting there. Also, as mentioned before, all the blank forms, the pitch count log, pitching eligibility form, the announcer script, the game recap form, all of that is available there on the website. Also be posting all of the game schedules, all of the live brackets. So as the scores get reported in, those brackets will be updated. All the game results and game summaries, all available there on the 2026 tournament resources or tournaments page. The website is the only source of truth, right? So while you may print out brackets, you may want to be printing out brackets. Keep in mind that they are always subject to change. especially when we get to the Final Four for All-Stars. The locations of those first Final Four games will be determined after we know which teams, which leagues are playing in the Final Fours, because we do give home field advantage to the teams based upon how the pool play fell out. So just keep in mind that schedules are subject to change. So the D44 website is always the source of truth. I think that's it.